Nairobi, Kenya's capital, is busy, expensive and dangerous, yet also fascinating and modern. When the Republic was founded in 1963, the country's first president founded Uhuru Park, the Park of Independence, with views of the city's skyline. The country's most beautiful park is used for various gatherings such as concerts and religious events, a popular meeting place, designed as a huge open-air arena. In the last century, the village of Cool Water has been transformed into a huge city, the centre of East Africa. Nairobi is the country's most important and beautiful city, and with the most temperate climate between Johannesburg and Cairo. It is located at an altitude of almost 1,700 meters above sea level. It is the center of both trade and industry in East Africa. It has banks, insurance companies and schools, and it's the location of various United Nations representatives. 2 million people inhabit this place of contrast, with modern skyscrapers in its center, surrounded by a spacious garden city. The government district of City Square contains the conference center and the Kanu Tower, the headquarters of government and the city's tallest building. At milestone 327 in 1899, the British founded a warehouse and camp for the country's Indian railroad workers. On the steep slopes of the East African Rift Valley, construction work of the Uganda Railway came to an abrupt end. A permanent settlement was established here. On the northern side of City Square, City Hall was built in neoclassical colonial style. As it is now too small for the needs of the city's population of 2 million, today it is merely of token value. It's difficult to believe that this area was once marshland, but it was drained in order that the British could build a railway junction here. Construction work in this former hotbed of malaria lasted for 10 years. At that time, Nairobi was one of the most beautiful and healthy cities in Africa. Many lost their lives while working on this amazing project. The railroad attracted settlers, tradesmen, workers, and finally, civil servants. Nairobi grew quickly, with various colors, creeds, and religions. A fine example of Indian architecture is the Jamia Mosque, the pearl of the city. Today, its minarets are obscured by various skyscrapers. The sacred Islamic building is the most important prayer house for the city's Muslims, with a splendid facade, minarets and silver domes. A 100 years ago, the nomadic Maasai grazed their cattle on this marshy highland. They named it the beginning of all beauty, a colourful description. Cannon guard the main entrance to the National Museum that is situated on Museum Hill. A fascinating building that covers much of Kenya's culture and history. The museum provides an interesting insight into prehistory as well as to various cultures and the country's flora and fauna. Various animals are featured in their natural environment, and the replicas of numerous landscapes are very realistic. Here, there's a huge rhinoceros in the savannah. And also a herd of elephants. These creatures live in herds. It's only the bulls that travel alone. This highly vivid display of animals and landscapes is extremely popular with those who visit the museum. Life from within the country's lakes is also featured in various aquaria, and fish from Naivasha Lake. Various monkeys and other climbing creatures can be observed, and also geckos and small lizards. The often unseen animal life of this fascinating country. As a collection of domestic goods, weaponry, musical instruments, and the costumes of numerous tribes. The ethnic splendor of an ancient history. On the upper floors, there is an art gallery that features the work of East African artists, with paintings of tribesmen in full costume. In front of the museum, there are some life-sized elephants and also modern sculptures that highlight the artistry of this fascinating people. Directly next to the National Museum is Snake Park, an extraordinary building that contains a large number of reptiles. Here, there are more than 200 varieties of snake, including dangerous specimens such as the green mamba, cobra, and python. Crocodiles also inhabit Snake Park, and the leguan is also featured here. Several huge turtles move slowly through their spacious enclosures. And the elegance and mobility of these large armored animals is always a surprise for those who see them for the first time. They eagerly consume the vegetables that are supplied to them in generous quantities. Nairobi is also known as the Green City. The area beyond the center of the city is sparsely populated, and everywhere there are parks and places to relax. The Arboretum is one of the capital's largest and most beautiful parks, an oasis of silence and a good place for a stroll. It was in the nearby State House, today's presidential palace, that the British governor once resided in colonial times. And he was responsible for the creation of the park. Various paths lead through this open space where its many exotic trees have grown to a good size. The British thrived in the creation of parks such as this. And the inhabitants of the city make good use of their open spaces. They appreciate these natural surroundings and spend many of their leisure hours here. School children come here and dance in a circle, inspired by traditional tribal ceremonies. Song and dance is in their blood. Various educational trails cut through the park, and the origin of each tree is described in great detail. A veritable journey round the world of trees. Romantic couples also leave their mark here. They carve their names in bamboo. The climate can produce some amazing results, such as this huge bamboo. Nature adapts, and whatever may grow small and delicately in Europe can grow huge and powerful in another climate. An enigma of life. Outside the Railway Museum, there is an exhibition of old locomotives, evidence of a great railway story, the construction of the Uganda Railroad. The building of the first railroad track from Mombasa and Nairobi to Kisumu and Kampala in Uganda was vital for the development of this region. This vast project of colonial times began in 1896 and was completed with a huge celebration in Kisumu on the 20th of December 1901. The final nail was hammered into a sleeper, and this marked the completion of the project. The Uganda Railroad between Lake Victoria and the Indian Ocean. price was high, the costs exploded, the working conditions were severe, and the tribal land of the Maasai was irrecoverably transformed by the railroad. But the settlement of Nairobi was born. Poor hygiene, man-eating lions, and cholera epidemics accompanied this city on its perilous road to eventual prosperity. The clubs on the outskirts of the city are particularly popular. They attract many of the city's wealthy inhabitants. A British tradition that has been well maintained. The well-tended grass of the golf course is an impressive sight. Frequent watering and careful cutting guarantee a pleasurable round of golf. Well-kept apartments are located in a semicircle around the central clubhouse that contains a large hall in British colonial style and various restaurants and bars. In front of the buildings, small water pools create a romantic atmosphere, and shady benches that are sheltered by plants are a good place to relax. And the true professionals travel with their caddies from green to green. An ideal place for the perfect tee shot. Here amid the East African savannah. A paradise for golfers. Within the green spaces of Uhuru Gardens is a 24-metre-high monument that is a reminder of the independence of this former colony. In 1963, the founder of the state and the first president of the Republic of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, led his country to independence. A huge step that followed many years of total dependency. Directly in front of the city gates is the Nairobi National Park, the oldest of all Kenya's nature parks, inaugurated in December 1946. Only a fence separates it from civilization. To the south, its animals can roam freely. Groups of ostriches bathe in the hot sand and usually manage to find something to eat in the barren savannah. A number of springboks stroll around elegantly between scattered rocks and trees that have been uprooted by elephants. Zebra pasture close to the city's skyline. This unique natural landscape is part of the city. large variety of wild animals live in an area of 120 square kilometers, where only the elephant has been relocated. Herds of wildebeest roam the terrain. The largest area of the park consists of open plains crossed by several life-supporting rivers. The tranquil atmosphere makes it difficult to imagine that this was once a hunting ground for the local population, an instant source of food on their doorstep. The hyena is an essential part of the food chain. They're highly specialized meat eaters. The few trees are hiding places for various kinds of birds and monkeys that rest here during the heat of the day. The shade of the leaves offers good protection as well as the perfect camouflage. The monkey population is constantly on the increase, and these crafty creatures have now begun to explore the outskirts of the city, hunting for food at night. Various birds build their hanging nests on the end of branches from where they sway in the breeze. And a group of giraffes marches proudly towards some green trees. They enjoy the tasty fresh leaves that grow at the top. Pure nature in front of the entrance to this African metropolis. A paradise for both animals and humans alike. A tranquil Garden of Eden. On the edge of the city, close to the national park, the carnivore restaurant is popular with Nairobi's inhabitants. Here, many of the country's varieties of meat are grilled over an open fire and served up in mouth-watering style. Those who come here enjoy the remarkable food and thus end the day in good spirits, close to the wilderness outside. The city market is located within a former aircraft hangar. Here, everything that the highlands of Kenya has to offer is piled up high. Fruit, flowers and vegetables, and everything is completely fresh. Arts and crafts, such as carved wooden masks, are offered for sale in the arcades, and haggling is the order of the day. Such is life in Nairobi, where ancient traditions rub shoulders with the contemporary. This metropolis in the realm of the golden sun is one of the most fascinating cities in the world.